If you have kids, you probably had no idea that digging a hole in the sand can be this dangerous. In 2024, Teresa and Jason were vacationing in Florida with their 7-year-old daughter Sloane and their 9-year-old son Maddox. They were at the beach when their kids began playing and digging in the sand. They dug a 4 to 6 foot hole when suddenly the sand collapsed, burying Sloane first and then her brother Maddox on top of her. Their parents were sitting only a few feet away and tried their best to quickly save them, but Sloane was sucked by the sand completely. Like her whole body was in the sand, and Maddox was only sucked in from the chest down. People at the beach quickly tried to dig the sand out to help save these 2 kids, but the walls just kept collapsing in. And after calling for help, it took about 20 minutes to get the kids out. Maddox did survive, but Sloane unfortunately lost her life. This is so devastating because I've never heard anyone talk about this before. And seeing your child lose their life by doing something so innocent like playing in the sand, I don't know how you can ever get over that. It's been advised that children should not be digging deeper than 2 feet because of how dangerous this is.
Cuando estás en el antro nunca vaya a faltar el típico borracho malacopa que te pregunta, oye, ¿qué es eso que traes colgado?
That influencer threatened the Mexican cartel, and now he's in prison for 17 years. So this guy's name is Fofo Marquez, and Fofo over the last few years really grew his social media presence, and at the time that he was arrested, he had about 3.4 million followers. But at one point, Fofo in 2022 pulled a stunt. He and his friends parked their expensive trucks on a local bridge in Guadalajara, Mexico, holding up traffic, causing a major jam, and he ran around saying he's essentially the god, the untouchable one, the ruler, the king of this city. But the CJNG cartel did not take lightly to that. Seeing that he was claiming dominance over a city they claimed to control, they posted a threat on Facebook which read, "We are the ones who rule here in Jalisco and in all of Mexico, and to you, Fofo, we will only tell you to be careful because we will not let you come to Guadalajara believing that you can do whatever you want. Here in Jalisco, Mr. Mencho rules. If we see you again in Guadalajara, because if not, wherever we see you, we will pick you up, and then, yes, all your money that you have will not help you." So after this, he hired 30 bodyguards reportedly to protect himself when he was out in public, and he eventually apologized for his actions. But then in 2024, Fofo was captured on camera in a parking lot of a mall in Mexico, February 22nd of that year to be specific, savagely beating a woman in her car. It was apparently a road rage beating, and there are pictures of the victim afterwards, and they are truly horrific. So there was a trial, and eventually Fofo was sentenced to 17 years in prison for his brutal assault of that woman. So from being completely untouchable to being housed in prison, what a downfall this guy had. And I haven't really heard anything about him, so I wonder how he's doing in prison, if he's still alive and all of that.
Things that are bigger than you think.
This woman's mugshots have been going viral all in 2025 up to 2026. Her name's Alexandra Pablos, and in 2025 she got arrested again in Orange County, Florida. Her crimes are wild. So she was tampering with evidence and public misconduct in her most recent arrest. Public misconduct, what was it for? She was pooping on things. It was public defecation. In 2017, she broke out of jail wearing nothing except just her underwear. When she broke out of jail, she just took all her clothes off, ran through like a gap in the fence, and then hid under a semi-truck. When she was hiding under a semi-truck after she broke out, the only reason the canines found her is because of thermal imaging from a helicopter. Also found her in like less than an hour. These mugshots are just interesting. Her 2017 one looks relatively normal. I mean, she has face tattoos in the 2017 one, but other than that, like, she doesn't have the crazy sort of makeup eyebrow thing going on that she has in these 2025 ones. For the tampering with evidence charge that she recently got, now I'm not sure what she tampered with, but usually when people get that charge, it's a pretty serious charge. Like, you need to be tampering with like crime scene evidence or something like that, or something that's being investigated. Either way though, she also did public defecation while doing that, so maybe she defecated on the evidence, I'm not even sure. Let me know your thoughts about this lady in the comments.
This is him when he was 27, now he's 33. His goal is to become less human and more alien. He expressed interest in this from a young age and says he's only completed 34% of his body. He recently had 2 of his fingers chopped off of his left hand so he could have a freakish claw. He's had his nose and upper lip cut off, his tongue split and his teeth dyed purple, his ears cut off, a hole added to the bottom of his lip, you can see it better in this picture, body implants, the word alien carved into the side of his head. I can't show you a picture because it's like an open wound, but you can Google it. And, you know, obviously like his entire body.
I've been a bad girl.
The woman you just saw in that video's name is Winter Swan Miller, and she went live on Facebook claiming that she's been a bad girl after savagely murdering an army veteran in England. In June of 2023, this man, 62-year-old Stuart Crocker, was stabbed 27 times in his own apartment. Basically, on that day, this woman, Winter, who I believe was dating Stuart or with him, they had some sort of relationship, she snapped. Now, I've read some reports that this was allegedly over Winter's Pomeranian dog going missing. I believe Winter was a dog sitter. But regardless, she snapped on Stuart, who was an army veteran who already suffered from PTSD, and Winter, like I said, stabbed him 27 times. But afterwards, she immediately hopped on Facebook Live and started talking about what she had done. She said she had done something naughty, she was a bad girl, but she also said on the same live that she didn't feel bad about what she had done and had no guilt. After this, she left the apartment, came back, spent a few hours cleaning up the crime scene, and then attempted to flee the county. However, she was eventually arrested after Stuart's body was found and she was located, and after a trial, she has now been sentenced to life in prison with a minimum of 23 years to be served. According to investigators, when they searched Winter's devices, they found multiple other videos that she had created, which purportedly showed her literally confessing to Stuart's murder and describing it in graphic detail, while at the same time basically claiming that she feels like she's done nothing wrong.
Creatures that are not as we have seen. How you think angels are? What angels are really like? How you think the Kraken are? What the Kraken are really like?
Guys, it's happening again. Even more countries are turning completely red. And remember, the footage you're seeing, 0 filters on it. This footage, for example, is from the Greek island of Crete, where the visibility has got so poor that flights have had to be rerouted. And the same goes for several North African countries like Libya, and it's moving towards others like Egypt too. So, what the hell is going on? Well, similar to what we saw in Australia over the weekend, an intense storm has blown through North Africa's Sahara, and it blows all of this red sand into the atmosphere, which clouds the sun and creates this real-life red tint. And so while it feels like a fitting time for the apocalypse, it's not yet.
There's this myth that says you should never Google yourself, and this is why. Before an important ice skating competition, a girl named Enora Petrova decided to Google herself out of curiosity to see what other people see when they look her up. When she did so, she discovered a Wikipedia page dedicated to her and her successful career as an ice skater. And to her surprise, the page indicated that she would win the competition the following day. The next day came and went, and she did in fact win the ice skating competition, and the Wikipedia page just continued to prove her success time and time again. But with the new competition just months away, she decided to try something new. She tried editing the Wikipedia page herself to see if she could control the outcome. And that's when her nightmare began. Not only was she blocked from editing the page, but this time it was modified to say some pretty nasty things about her. Months later, she checked the page again, and this time it was updated with this horrible prediction that both of her parents would die in a terrible accident. And sure enough, days later, she's notified notified that her parents are dead. She then suffers an emotional breakdown that she's hospitalized for. After this, and while trying to get her life back on track, she decides to check the page one last time. On it, a death date was listed next to her name. And just like all of the others, this prediction was proven correct when Honora's lifeless body was discovered in her apartment.
Here's every horror movie releasing in April in chronological order. Up first is Hunting Matthew Nichols, releasing April 10th, which follows our two main characters, Matthew and Jordan, who end up going missing in northern Vancouver. What makes this movie terrifying is the fact that it's shot in that documentary style with actual interviews from parents, friends, and loved ones about our beloved characters who have gone missing. This movie 100% gives Blair Witch Project vibes, and I'm super excited for it. Also dropping April 10th is Faces of Death, which follows a woman who's working as a content moderator for one of the big video sharing platforms. And she starts finding unalivings online that match up with the original Faces of Death movie. And now she has to figure out whether or not these are deep fake videos, or if they're actual murders happening in real time being streamed and posted to the internet. And it just looks perfect. Then you have Exit 8, also releasing April 10th, which follows a man trapped in an endless subway passageway. And the only way he can get out is if he follows one simple rule. If he spots anything abnormal, he has to turn his back and pretend like nothing is wrong. His sole goal is to keep moving forward to make it out of the subway station. He's basically trapped in a liminal horror loop, pretty much an ongoing nightmare. And finally, you have Lee Cronin's The Mummy, releasing April 17th, which follows a journalist's young daughter who ends up disappearing in a desert without a trace. And 8 years later, the daughter ends up coming back. But instead of it being like a miracle reunion, oh my god, I found my daughter, this is not your daughter anymore. She comes back as some almost undead demonic being, and that alone would have made me leave her wherever she was. Pretend like I ain't never found her. All in all, I've said it every single month, as horror fans, we are being fed so well, and I'm interested to hear which movies you guys are
People who turn themselves into animals. Dennis Avner. He transformed himself into a tiger. Eric Sprague. He transformed himself into a lizard.
Something fucking creepy happened when I got home. I was driving down the street, and my daughter's bedroom light is on. So I'm like, that's weird because she's at her dad's house for a couple nights. She's not home. So I park my car right over here. And when I park my car, I see her bedroom curtains are also opened a bit. So now I'm freaked out, right? And my doors were locked. But my house was built in like 1910. So I was like, I hope it's a fucking ghost and someone didn't, break in or something. So I have to actually go in my house right now, and I'm recording it, because I'm scared. Alright, so, here we go. I'm, like, shaking right now. Like, my hormones are, like, my adrenaline is going again. Like, I have to go up my creepy dark stairs. None of the lights are on upstairs. This is not fun. And I've been hearing weird shit in the attic, bro. Oh, fucking spooky. That's her room. Just turn the light on. I don't know which way I should point the camera. Bro, I'm freaked out. I'm gonna go in my bedroom first. Turning the light on in here. Why isn't it turning on? Okay. This shit's scary. Dude, I don't want to go in there. Everything is like normal in here. But her painting fell. This painting she made was hanging on the wall and that fell. Her chair that belongs to her desk is here, but that just might be normal. Like maybe she was playing with it. I'm gonna look in her closet. Dude. Everything's normal. I'm gonna shut her light off. Like the LED lights are on in my other daughter's room and those always go on. Dude, it was fucking creepy. I'm looking behind the shower curtain. Ha! Nothing there. Weird. Like, that light was off last night. I was here in my house sleeping. I hate when that light is on because if I close my door and the light is on, it shines through this crack. It's gotta be a fucking ghost. Like, my house was built in like 1906, not 1910, 1906.
Now this video has got the internet going crazy because a guy in Melbourne, Australia is quite literally claiming that his dog was playing with a ghost. And after watching this, I bloody believe him. Now he insists that his backyard is fully secured and locked by a high fence where there is no way for another dog to get in. He also said that he ran outside to check if he hadn't lost the plot and that the ghost dog was nowhere to be seen. And if this video hasn't got you contemplating life, another video which has scarred me for life is this bastard. Now keep your eyes on the collar of the black dog on the right. So as you can see, the two dogs are just barking and barking, and then suddenly out of nowhere, for some reason, they just go completely quiet. A few seconds later, the black dog then randomly jerks backwards into the side of the crate and its collar comes off of its own.
I went out the other night and this girl stops me and she's like, fun fact. And I was like, oh, you want a fun fact? I got fun fact. She's like, no, I got a fun fact for you. And I was like, oh my God, okay, sweet. Nobody's ever done it in reverse before. Please tell me. She goes, CJ Madam Walker. And please forgive me, I had been drinking. I was just like, what? She's like, Google it. I was like, okay, cool. Interactive fun fact. And I learned so much about this woman. I'm upset that we haven't learned about her in school. So shout out Maya, this video came from your brain. Madam CJ Walker was actually born Sarah Breedlove, and she was the first person in her entire family to be born after slavery. But then she was orphaned at 7 and married at 14, and she was a widow by 22, and she had a daughter. She was working as a laundress for about $1.50 a day, where she started to have like this major hair loss problem, which led her to creating her business where she had like a scalp and hair care system. Not just a product, a system, but the most famous product she had was called the Wonderful Hair Grower. Literally less than $2 in her pocket, she moved to Denver to start her business where she would actually go door to door, and she trained thousands of black women to actually sell these products where they would give like live demos, which was like crazy marketing at the time. She was allowing women, black women, to make their own income in the early 1900s. Do you understand how rare that was? She built her own beauty school, moved locations for better logistics, was able to build a factory to start distributing her products nationwide, and started the first national conference of women entrepreneurs in 1917. It was reported she had tens of thousands of agents working underneath her, making her easily the first self-made black woman millionaire in America. And with that money, she hired one of the first licensed black architects to build herself a mansion in New York, while also donating a ton of money to anti-lynch campaigns, because those were still going on. She also drove her own car, which was not common at all. Her name is Sarah Breedlove. Where does CJ Madam Walker come in? Easy. CJ came from her late husband. Madam was a way to get like a psychological advantage, authority over these racist white men that she was competing with in this industry. When she unfortunately passed away in 1919 at the age of 51 years old, she donated the majority of her life savings to charity. Why don't we learn about this in school? Because what do you mean? There was an American who started out with nothing, who created their own business with a product that didn't really like exist like that before, nationalized it, made all this money, made other people money, and then used that money and their own home for activism. Come on!
Not going to let anyone or anything make me scared of my own home. Not anymore. Just leave us alone.
This is a scary picture. It shows this guy abducting a literal 5-year-old from his bedroom and leaving. The 5-year-old is then found dead miles away later. This happened in May of 2021 in Dallas, and Cash Gernon was the kid's name. He was sleeping next to his twin brother when he got abducted. This happened at 5 a.m. and he was later killed, like I said, by 18-year-old Darren Brown, pictured right below him. The sad thing about this is that none of the parents were present. The dad dropped the kids off to the mom's place. They were divorced, and the mom was, responsible for taking care of these kids. The mom wasn't even there when this happened. Jogger is the one who found the kid about 3 or 4 miles away, 8 blocks down, whatever they want to call it. He was just covered in a puddle of blood. He was barefoot and just lifeless body on the floor. DNA evidence later that same day got Darren Brown arrested. He left DNA all over the house. He was sentenced to 30 years in prison with the possibility of parole, but nobody knows why he decided to abduct this kid and then kill him. The motivation is just senseless. Like, they had no connection at all. He just decided to kill a 5-year-old. Darren Brown was also young too. He was 18 years old, so no idea why he did this back in 2021, but he's in prison now. Let me know your thoughts about this case, guys.
Covered in tattoos, and his eyeballs tattooed too. He says that doing all of this has boosted his self-confidence, which is so interesting to me because he was a very attractive man before. But in the future, he already is planning on getting 2 more fingers removed, splitting his downstairs neighbor in half, and getting his leg removed. He documents all of his transformations on Instagram under the Black Alien Project. Here's an interesting quote I found. I love getting into the shoes of a scary character. I often settle down somewhere and play a role, especially at night in the dark streets. Let me know what you think about this, and follow my TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube for more. Interacting really helps.
Iran burnt a statue of Baal, and we just kind of kept it pushing. We didn't discuss this. Let's get into it. This was not some random protest, okay? This was a state-sponsored rally on the anniversary of the 1979 revolution. So tens of millions of people were here when this statue was burnt. Now, this statue is Baal, of course, but on its chest, it also has the Star of David. It also had 666. And look, they didn't mince words when they said this represents the West. They outright said this represents Jeffrey Epstein and all the shit he did. If you don't know who Baal is, please let me know in the comments and I'll make another video about him. But he is a bullhorn-headed god that specializes in child sacrifice. Not a good guy. He's an ancient Canaanite god that Israel is warned about over 1,000 times in the Bible. It may not be 1,000, it's like 100. I don't know. Either way, they're warned a lot about this guy and to stay away from him. All I'm saying is a foreign government just used a 3,500-year-old biblical deity to describe what is going on in the West. Because mind you, Baal is associated with child sacrifice, hidden elites, and the corruption of power. Does that sound familiar? It's probably just a coincidence that after they burnt this statue, we started bombing them. That's all just a coincidence.
These were the real-life Powerpuff Girls, and their story is truly terrifying. In 1954, deep in the Nevada desert, the U.S. government launched a secret project called Operation Blossom. It was led by a strange scientist named Dr. Mo Lester. The goal, to create living weapons by rewriting human DNA. After years of failed trials, Dr. Mo succeeded, creating 3 genetically modified girls: Emily, who had super strength; Rose, who could control machines with her mind; and June, whose mind control was so powerful that even the other scientists were afraid of her. Keep the girls from using their powers, they were fitted with metal collars that could shut their abilities down instantly. But things soon got darker. They were tested endlessly, kept in isolation, and treated like weapons, not children. One night during an experiment, June secretly used her mind control on Dr. Mo. Without him realizing it, he placed the remote for the collars under the table and walked away. That night, the girls found it. They freed themselves. Then all hell broke loose. Emily shattered the walls, Rose shut down the alarms and sealed the exits, and June froze every guard in her path. Without saying a word, they escaped into the desert, leaving the lab in ruins. The government searched for years, but they were never found. Later, in declassified reports, officials mentioned sightings of 3 pregnant women near abandoned military bases. Their story was erased from history, but one question remains: where are they now?
This picture is one of the scariest and most terrifying pictures that you will ever see. I mean, sure, when you first look at it, it just looks like a happy family. But let me tell you, what if I move a little? Bro, what the actual hell is this? It all started around 1950 when a family called Cooper just moved into a new home in Texas. You know, they moved into a new house, it's a new life, you don't do this every day, it's not a regular thing, so the family decided to celebrate it. So while they were celebrating, one of the family members got the idea to take a picture, okay? So in this picture, you see the grandmother, the mother, and the children. It's important to keep in mind that this happened a long time ago. We're talking about 1950. Whoever took the pic, well, he did not take it with an iPhone 17 Pro Max. He took it with something like this. These types of cameras used to be very famous around that time, okay? It was either this one or, you know, the big one with the tripod where you had to do a whole lot of exercise just to get one pic. Anyways. When the family finally took the picture, well, they kept celebrating. If you're like, bro, oh my God, are they not seeing this thing in the picture? Well, no. Because if you remember well, they took the pic with an old camera. And the thing with these cameras is that they take a lot of time to process and then extract the image. It's not like these days with your phone, you just take a pic and then you can check it immediately. No, with these types of cameras, you had to wait until the picture comes out. And when it comes out, you had to wait for it to go from black into a clear image. That's the exact reason why the family didn't react immediately and they kept celebrating. They took the pic, they put the camera elsewhere, and waited for it to process this thing. Now, after a while, the pic was finally ready to be seen, so all the family gathered together. They were like, bro, let's come check this pic, alright? Everyone who saw this pic was in absolute shock. Who the hell is this? Why is he upside down? Why is his face like this? And most importantly, why didn't they see him if he's next to them? The picture became really known and many people started talking about it when the internet started to become a thing in the 80s. The family kept promising that they did not fake this image, okay? It appeared just like that and it shocked them too. They also mentioned that after this picture was taken and each time they went to this room, they felt a heavy presence, like he was here but they could not see him. So was this a glitch, you know, something that happened that messed up the process of the image and we ended up having something like this? Was it fate, you know, the family did it on purpose? Or, you know, was it a spirit that, you know, he was enjoying the party too, he was going up and down? Nobody will certainly know. All I know is that you and I, yes, I am involved, got jump scared when we saw the pic for the first time.
Here we go, baby. Brand new trailer for the Backrooms.
In the store.
Okay. What did you find?
The no clip.
Place.
Yep. The in-between.
I found a place.
Oh, bro. It looks beautiful.
Hello?
Oh, hell no. Is that a smiler?
Anyone there? Look, I know how this sounds, but you gotta understand, it's massive in there.
I'm not saying I don't believe you.
Okay, I'm gonna come back here with proof.
How is he getting in and out?
Yeah. Follow my lead.
Clark, what is this?
That's what I'm trying to figure out. I've been here every night since I found the place, and I still barely scratched the surface. All right, just take it slow. Oh my God. Pull me up, pull me up, pull me up! What do you see? All these rooms. This place built.
Bro, this looks good.
It's like a maze. It just goes on and on. Sometimes I'm scared I'll get lost.
Clark, can you hear me?
I don't understand. Set up cameras.
What is this?
Right through.
It's beautiful. Am I right?
Hello?
Hell no, don't get lost in there. Now they cook.
Urban legends from every state. The Weeping Woman of Callaway Hall, located in Columbus, Mississippi. Here's the story. During the Civil War, a nurse fell in love with a wounded soldier. After he was healed, he went back to battle, never to be seen again. The nurse named Mary was so heartbroken that she committed suicide, jumping from the clock tower in anguish. Legend says that her distraught spirit still roams Callaway Hall, turning on faucets, riding up and down elevators. She's also known to occasionally wake up students by weeping at the end of their beds. Which state is next?
This is the creepiest urban legend that actually turned out to be true. In the 1970s, a film crew was shooting an episode of The $6 Million Man inside of an old funhouse ride called Laugh in the Dark. The ride was meant to be spooky. It was lined with glowing lights and creepy-looking mannequins. But people began to notice that one of these mannequins looked a little too lifelike. Whispers started circulating among carnival workers and guests, and some said that the figure looked so real that it had to be an actual body. Eventually, these rumors turned into an urban legend claiming that someone had died inside of the funhouse and had been turned into a prop. But nobody took it that seriously because it was just a legend after all. Until the camera crew arrived to film the show. When one of the crew members tried to move the figure from where it hung, the arm broke off. He later said it looked like beef jerky inside, and that's when the realization hit. This wasn't just a mannequin after all. Police were called, and it was soon confirmed that the prop was actually the mummified body of a man named Elmer McCurdy. Elmer was an outlaw from Oklahoma who had died 65 years earlier. He was killed in 1911 during a shootout with law enforcement after a failed robbery. After his death, Elmer was taken to a funeral home, but when no one claimed him, the undertaker refused to bury him without payment. After preserving his body, the undertaker, disturbingly, propped his body up and displayed it inside of the funeral home with a sign that read, "The bandit who wouldn't be buried." People would pay a nickel to see Elmer this way, and even more disturbingly, they would drop the coins into his mouth as payment. His body stayed on display like this for 2 years before 2 men showed up at the funeral home claiming to be Elmer's long-lost brothers. They were actually carnival owners. They took Elmer's body and began displaying him in their sideshows. Over the decades, it was sold and traded so many times that people eventually forgot it was a real human being. By the 1960s, Elmer's body ended up with a company that supplied wax figures and props to amusement parks. And that's when Laugh in the Dark got their hands on it. A real human body that they displayed as a prop in a spooky funhouse for children.